back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Whatnauts review show, our book club style podcast here at the Whatnauts. We cover all sorts of genres and mediums, so there is bound to be something that you guys will like. Just dive in at whatever number you can find. But this one happens to be number 114. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am here chatting it up with Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, how are you?
Kyle, I like the concept that somebody might pick an episode not based on the topic, but based on number alone. I was born on the 27th. That's my lucky number. I'll just listen to whatever episode 27 is.
Okay, let's look up what number 27 was.
What were our birthday episodes? Yeah.
Let's see, 27. 27 was The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
A very good episode. Kyle, what was the 13th and the 19th? Those would be our birthdays.
Okay, let's see. I don't know if we were listing them at that, so I can't just search by the number, but I can scroll all the way down.
You can count that much. That's not a lot.
Right.
Ain't too much to count manually.
13 was Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets.
Oh, I got to have Jams join me for my birthday episode.
Yeah. And then 19 was Wet Hot American Summer.
Hoo-hoo! I just rewatched that last week, and it's still amazing
stuff. I just happened to wake up from a nap, and I am still in that stupor from when you wake up and you're just like, what's going on? Where am I?
A night nap.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous choice.
Oh yeah, I live on the edge. Oh yeah. No, I ate dinner. This is like my usual routine. Is I get done with work, I eat dinner, and then I crash.
Ooh.
And it's like I'm out for anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half ish. But I was like, I'm going to set my alarm this time just in case. So 20 minutes before the podcast. Excuse me, I have the hiccups now. But yeah, here we are. Doing our thing. Number 114. Melissa, this week we are talking about a manga called Fairy Tail. This was created by Hiro Mashima. There you go. I know there is an anime of the same name that follows the manga that we are going to be talking about today. I've seen some of the anime, but this was the thing. When I pitched this to you, I pitched this in a sense that I thought I had seen all of it, and apparently I hadn't. And so I became very confused, and now I question my entire existence. Yeah, I got completely lost of I could have sworn I saw the whole thing. And then it was just what did I watch? Was I really watching something? Am I really alive? Who am I? Why was I made?
Looking at a wall the whole time? You just candle coved yourself?
Yeah, most likely. So yeah, it's in a weird way. I kind of already know Fairy Tail, but I don't feel like I do.
Okay.
So now we have read the manga, though.
You know more than me. I knew nothing. I had heard that this was the name of an anime manga property. And when I looked at the character designs, I'm like, I don't know if I've seen these people, but I think I've seen this style before.
Sure.
And that's all the knowledge I had.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So this is one that we found in Comixology Unlimited. You guys can go read that there if you are a member subscriber to Comixology Unlimited. You can get all sorts of comics for free if you are a subscriber. I guess it's not free if you have to subscribe and pay them $5 a month. But still, it's a good deal. So yeah, so you hadn't heard of this. You said you were maybe familiar with the style.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one that I think in my confusion, I was like, I should maybe go back and check it out, or like do something about this and fix this and stuff like that. So here we are. That's kind of why I wanted to pitch this one. Yeah, we read the first 4 volumes, so it's about usually what we do for a manga, because those are usually quicker reads. But yeah, we read a drop in the bucket compared to how many volumes this is. There is excuse me, there is 63 volumes.
What?
In this.
That's too many.
Yeah, 63 whole volumes. It was serialized in Kodansha's weekly shonen magazine from August 20, or from, God, I keep saying 20 and I don't know why. I'm like haunted by the number 20.
We are 20.
Yeah. From August 2nd, 2006 to July 26th, 2017. So, yeah, 63 volumes. So for people who haven't checked this out, let's do a quick synopsis. We can do our like general thoughts and stuff like that, and then we'll get on to spoilers after that.
Okay. I do want to say that when you gave me the elevator pitch for this story, I imagined it with a completely different tone. Because what you told me was there's a young girl named Lucy who has magic powers and dreams of joining this guild of wizards, and she gets caught up with this pirate boy with a talking cat, and they go on adventures. And I was picturing a young adult shoujo story for girls. Picturing something like a Kiki's Delivery Service, since you mentioned a young girl with magic powers.
Shoujo.
Right? This I was not informed of. This is... It's more adult, it's bawdier, it's mostly action, and like fan service shots.
Yeah, you say more adult, and we'll get to that in spoilers, I'm sure. But yeah, it is meant for like young teen boys.
I thought this was going to be a whimsical girlish adventure.
But at the same time, like it still has some of that stuff in there, right? She has this like light-hearted, optimistic outlook of just like, wow, I'm joining this really strong wizarding guild called Fairy Tale, and I'm all bright-eyed, and I have no idea what to do, what comes next, and like that's it. It's her discovering like, oh, I'm supposed to pick up jobs and go on quests and do all of this stuff, and so yeah, that's what the story ends up being, is them joining this guild and picking up these jobs and going on these adventures and stuff like that. And again, we only had a small portion that we read, so I'm sure there's a lot more to it, but we started to get some sprinkles of some of the like wider wizarding world and stuff like that, which was neat. But yeah, like you said, it's this bright-eyed girl named Lucy. She wants to join Fairy Tale. She ends up running into this young boy named Natsu, who is a dragon slayer wizard. He has magic powers that are specifically meant to fight dragons, and stuff like that. But he's this like hothead kid. He thinks he knows the right thing to do all the time, but then he has this like small talking cat that can fly.
The talking cat, I will say, met all my expectations. Quality talking cat.
Hi. Yeah, so the small cat, its name is Happy, which is interesting because this is the second thing that we have covered on the review show with a small talking creature named Happy. We'll have to do the MCU films after that, and then we can add a third one. Happy Hogan. Okay, yeah. That's it. They join the guild. They take on their first job. They get another job after that. He's already in the guild. Plot. Yes.
He's already in the guild, but he's like a younger member. And so when he teams up with her, then they start like taking jobs off the off the post-it wall.
Indeed. And yeah, it's a swashbuckling
Yeah.
adventure. It's pretty much nonstop. There's this like just in general like good feeling with this like there is no like real well I don't want to say there's no real emotional moments and stuff, but it's heartening. It's meant to be a good time. It's meant to be fast paced and just like, let's go on an adventure, you know?
Yeah, like there's no moments of brooding or self-reflection
Oh
or
man, I'm
grief.
Batman and my parents have died. I'm gonna
No,
stand here
yeah, it
by
is
this
just
window
sort
for
of
30 minutes monologuing about how my parents died.
my dinner is getting cold.
That, yeah.
It is
It's
it is a
okay.
romp.
Alfred can make
I
me
do.
another one.
He can't reheat it. He just makes a new dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean that's pretty much it for what we've read. Do you have like overall thoughts and feelings of what we did read now that you know a little bit of what this is about now?
I don't know if this is exactly my kind of story, but I did really like how magic works in this world. I think it
Interesting.
had
Okay.
some really interesting magic systems that got introduced, and I would be intrigued to see those fleshed out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not your everyday just, oh, I'm a wizard, Harry, and everyone can do any kind of magic as long as you know the right words to say. Each wizard basically learns a certain type of magic. So, like I said, Natsu has Dragon Slayer magic. Lucy, I forget the name of what it was, but it was like gatekeeper magic or something
Yeah,
like
she's a
that.
celestial wizard, so she
Yeah,
has these keys, these magic keys that let her open a door to another dimension and summon a spirit who she has a contract with to cooperate with her.
yeah, and they're all the zodiac signs, and then there's a
Mm,
few ancillary ones. Like she has one that's a grandfather clock, but then she
love
has
that
like
one.
Virgo, and then she has Aquarius or whoever. I don't know the signs.
Those were them.
Yeah, but so it is an interesting magic system
Mhm.
for sure. Um, I yeah, I mean it's a great time. I think I really enjoyed seeing the book progress.
Yeah.
Because this is one that I think it's really apparent that Volume 1, they're still kind of figuring it out. They don't necessarily know what it's going to be about yet, and then as it progresses, they find their footing. They're like, okay, maybe we want to do more of this kind of storytelling and leave these things behind, just not do them as much and stuff like that. So it's good to see it evolve as it goes. Yeah, I thought I thought Volume 4 was the best one of all the stuff that we read, or just as it continued to go on, it got better. It got more interesting. It's like, oh, now we're learning about some council and this character's being arrested and stuff like that. Um, I enjoyed it. I can't say I like it though. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's got this kind of cheery spirit to it, but it's
Yeah.
really madcap.
Yeah,
It's just sort of always in your face about something.
it's a good time. However, this is not a time that I wish to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That's our kind of general thoughts and stuff on Fairy Tale. But for now, we'll get into some housekeeping and get into spoilers right after that, which gives you guys a chance to go read it for yourselves and form your own opinions. Yeah, so housekeeping. If you guys did not know, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find out more information on our website, thewhatnauts.com. or you can type in the Whatnauts on your favorite podcasting platform of choice, and all of our shows will pop up right there. If you guys like what we do, patreon.com/the Whatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. And at the $3 tier, you do get some kind of exclusive content every so often. Melissa, you and I just posted an episode of the Reactor Core, in which you and I were watching movie trailers from the 2000s. That was good. That was a lot of fun. We have one more of those going up next month, in which we will do movie trailers of the 2010s. We've just kind of been looking for trends and stuff we can find, how they grew, how they evolved from movies we've seen, movies we haven't seen, all sorts of stuff. So.
Just what makes regardless of the quality of the movie itself, what makes a trailer good?
Indeed.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Go check that out. That's at our $3 tier on Patreon. You guys can find that stuff on our website as well. But last but not least, we would also like to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, for helping us out and for supporting us for so long. We appreciate it. Yes, and thank you so much. But yeah, that about wraps us up for housekeeping right now. Let's get into spoilers. Here we are, doing our thing. Spoilers. Dumbledore dies.
Wrong wizard.
Oh. Yeah. So I kind of actually wanted to go back to our synopsis of this book, interestingly enough, because yeah, if I were especially to describe these first 4 volumes of what this book is about, I would say, yeah, it's about this young girl named Lucy who wants to join this wizarding guild named Fairy Tale. She does, and then they go on all sorts of adventures once she meets this boy named Natsu, who is also in that same guild. And I think that's an adequate description.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
Yeah, it's not wrong. However, according to Wikipedia, their description is more Natsu focused. That this story follows the adventures of Natsu Dragonneil, a member of the popular wizard guild Fairy Tale, as he searches the fictional world of Earthland for the Dragon Igneal.
Earthland.
Earth-land. There's a little hyphen in there. Yeah, so I thought this was interesting because I can kind of tell this as the book progressed. The first character we meet is Lucy. That's kind of our in character, especially to the world of wizarding, because she doesn't really know what it's like. She's more of a fan. She can do some magic, but these wizarding guilds are like celebrities to her.
Yeah.
She has some like wizarding magazine, and she goes, "Oh my god, it's Mary Jane from Fairy Tale! Isn't she so cool? I love her so much." It's like the swimsuit edition.
Right. I did dig that. I like that these wizarding guilds are almost like pop idol groups.
Yeah.
And like, you know them, you follow the individual members. And yeah, Mira Jane is described several times as like the poster girl for Fairy Tale. And she does legitimately do swimsuit issues in magazines. Like, everybody's supposed to have like this big shiny star in their guild, whether it's because of their powers or just because they've got the looks and the charm to like draw in a fan.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. But yeah, like, it starts out with her. We focus on her a lot, but then as we meet Natsu, he kind of steals the show. Yes. As the book goes on. And so, yeah, I think down the road, the book does end up more so becoming about him. But they're really kind of just side by side there.
Yeah.
At least also from what I remember from the anime, which again is not much. Um, but yeah, I thought that was an interesting discrepancy. But let's start out with Lucy. What did you think of
Mm.
her?
I did like her. I like how enthusiastic she is.
Mm-hmm.
I like how she's not experienced, but she's not bumbling either. She just doesn't have any field practice with any of this magic stuff that she has.
Yeah,
Like she's
yeah.
going into a world of battles, whereas as a civilian, she doesn't have any reason to just be doing battles every day. So she's learning how to use these spirits that she has these contracts with for these offensive reasons.
Yes. It's kind
Mm.
of like teaching yourself a skill, going on YouTube. How do I graphic design? And then you learn that graphic design is my passion, and then you do graphic design stuff on the side, and then you land your first graphic design job like at a company, and it's like, holy moly, this is a lot different than what I was expecting or what I was used to, just making YouTube thumbnails and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I like that perspective on it. I wish there's some bits we get from Lucy where they'll draw like a little heart in her word bubble, like when she says something like, "Oh, Mira Jane's so cool. I'm glad I get to be friends with her now that I'm in the guild." Stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. They draw that heart in there and it makes it feel almost like it's a journal, and I wished that's what the book was. That this
Yeah,
was like Lucy's journal, her direct first person narration of everything she's experiencing, because I like her spirit, I like her voice about things, and I like that little character trait that she wants to be a writer and write like the great coming of age novel of her time in this wizard guild that she's embarking on. Like
yeah.
before she's even there, she knows that's what she wants to do. And so she's just scribbling in a notebook every once in a while and then getting shy and hiding it from people.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I think that's something a lot of people would lean on. Oh, she wants to be a
Yeah.
writer. She'll be the narrator of this book and all that stuff. And it's the narration is her actually like her actual book, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
her book. That's not really the case here, but we
Nah.
get a taste of it every now and then. And yeah, she does want to be a writer. She does want to write a book about what it's like to be a wizard and join fairy tale and go on these
Mm-hmm.
adventures and stuff like that. Um, but she's still unsure of herself,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. So something else that I saw in the Wikipedia page. Let me see if I can find it again here. Doom to doom to doom. Let's see. Where? Okay, I think it was in the production
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. After finishing his previous work, Rave Master, Hiro Mashima found the story sentimental and sad at the same time. So he wanted the story line of fairy tale to have a lot of fun for everyone. He
Mm-hmm.
nailed that. His inspiration for the series was sitting in bars and partying with his friends, imagining
Mm-hmm.
everyone as magicians. He also described the series as being about young people finding their calling, such as a job, which is kind of what I just mentioned
Yeah.
too. It's like nailing your first job and being like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, this is a lot different than I expected, or like this is what it's like. But yeah, like I think maybe as the story progresses, yeah, maybe she does end up kind of becoming some kind of journalist
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing for like I need to write these stories down. It's important that
Yeah.
we write these down and that, which I think is a great character trait for her. But I like
Mm-hmm.
that they also didn't rely on that at the start to be like, she's the narrator because she's a writer.
Right. Yeah, it would be a little predictable if that was the framing device they went with.
It's not
But
a
as I
bad one,
no,
right? But
yeah.
yeah,
I think that would be something that would particularly suit her because she's this ability to commune with these spirits, and the spirits are shared. Multiple wizards have contracts with these
yeah,
spirits, and part of the contract is like a schedule. It's like, yeah, I only talk to Virgo every other Thursday, or I only talk to Aquarius the third Wednesday of every month,
right.
or this spirit, it can be any day, but it's like after 4 o'clock. So in that other time, they're spending part of it with other wizards, and I'd be curious, are they able to speak freely about their other wizard masters in a general sense?
Interesting.
Are
Yeah,
there more stories that Lucy could be picking up from these spirits?
yeah, that's an interesting thought. Um, but the weird thing to me, and I guess this is also kind of addressed in the fact that as the book continued, I liked it more and more, or at least I thought
Mm.
it's getting better. Because Volume 1, I didn't necessarily like. If I was reading this on my own, I probably would have stopped after Volume
Mm-hmm.
1 and just been like, this is not good. Um, and one of my main reasons for that is the kind of fan servicey aspect about Lucy's character,
Yeah.
where she is continuously objectified and everyone around her is a perv and making perverted comments and stuff like that, which some of that I can take. I'm fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to happen, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say like I don't want none of that in a book because I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily feel like that's realistic. And when you
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily have that stuff in there, why makes it sound like I'm being like I want perverted stuff in there. Yeah,
No, no,
no,
I
but like
understand that, like, with the heroine that we have, that there may be some good-natured flirting among her
yeah,
and the rest of the crew. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, she is a young woman, right? The guy character is also a young guy. Like
Mm.
that, yeah. There's bound to be some kind of flirting or some kind of romance.
Mm.
Not necessarily between them, but between them and other characters and stuff like that. So I'm fine with that stuff and the like suggestive comment here and there,
Yeah.
or her being like, hey, I know guys like it when I have a low cut shirt on and do stuff like this and that. Maybe I can use that to my advantage. Like that stuff is
Yeah.
fine, but it just bombards you with that.
It's and it goes out of its way to draw
Yes.
panels at weird, impractical angles just so that it can like look at her legs or like down her shirt or like at her butt or something.
Yeah.
It's like this doesn't even make sense. Like if you want to put some fan service TNA in here, okay, but like can you make it make more sense with the actual plot and structure of what's going on?
Yeah. Like I kind of got the feeling that this was more so a character that he wanted to fuck rather than like an actual character, because like
Mm.
in within the first couple well, yeah, all right, so let me back up a small bit. One of my biggest problems with this book
Mm.
is that at the end of volume 1, what you are told is the main character, her story arc gets resolved. She
Yeah,
joins Fairy Tale. That's it. Done.
she you're right. She gets what she wants, and it's not clear what her next goal is beyond that. Like we
Yeah.
mentioned that she would like to be a writer, but this isn't like clearly stated this is what I'm going to be working on all the time. I am actively in search of the next great story.
Yeah. And so my motivation for wanting to know more about her as a character or stuff is done. It's like, okay, well she's wrapped up her story.
Mhm.
I like why should I continue reading the book? And they're not necessarily clear on that. Like, well, Natsu is a cool character. Like
Mm.
he's fun of an action dude. He's fun to follow. But again, why? And
Mhm.
that was my kind of big number one thing of like that. I just don't know if this early on in the book that they knew where they were going with it. That's kind of what I got. And it
Mhm.
leaves Lucy as this kind of cardboard cutout of a character. Like, I think the only thing we can really say about her is, yeah, she's a celestial wizard. She's a young woman who wanted to join fairy tale, and she wants to be a writer. Like, cool. That's a
Yeah, yeah,
start. That's not
she's
much,
she's likable,
right?
but she's not terribly active, and part of it is practical, as we said. She's getting put into these battle situations that she does not have firsthand experience with. She's on a team with people who do have firsthand experience. So she is literally on the sidelines for a lot of
Yeah.
these things, just sort of watching, observing, calling on a spirit if she needs to.
She's not even the chosen one. Like, it's not like Harry Potter where she is like, oh my gosh, she's
Mm.
gonna be the second coming. She's Neo. She's uh yeah, like she's not this
Mm.
all-powerful mystical being that they're like, oh my god, she's finally here. I think it's her. I think she's the one. There's been a prophecy. It's not. She's just some random chick that just shows up.
Yes.
So like yeah, it's hard to necessarily
Mm.
recommend this in sense of like, hey, there might be some great stuff about her character as this story
Yeah.
develops, though that's not within the first 4 volumes, and that's a good chunk, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's, if I mean, I'm sure you've heard people be like, oh, watch this TV show something. It starts to get good in season 3. And it's just like, what? Do I really have to invest that much time for it
Mhm.
to start to get good? Like,
Mm.
there's so much else that like starts out good, and from number one, it is great. It's just like, I would rather watch that stuff than invest my time into something that is maybe not gonna pay out until I make a bigger investment.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's unrewarding, because it
Mm.
can be very rewarding,
Yeah.
but it's still just like, it's a little bit more to ask. So
Right. For a story that's as fast paced and frantic as this is, yeah, I feel like we don't get very far in terms of any character journeys.
yeah, yeah. I think the most interesting character journey we actually get is Gray.
Mm.
He is another one of the wizards in Fairy Tale. He's in Ice Maker magic,
Yeah.
is what
Which you
it's
don't
called.
find out you don't find out about that until a while in. The first thing you find about him, it's when Lucy is first taken to the guild house and it's just meeting all these wild characters, and Gray's just like, oh, why are you naked again? You keep taking off your clothes. Put your clothes
And he's
back.
just like, where did they go? I don't know. I don't know where my clothes went.
Like, he's not in like, and like characters call him pervy. He isn't necessarily. He just it's like this
He just
absent-minded thing of he just takes his shirt off while he's talking and he sets his shirt down. He's like, I don't
but
know where my shirt went.
it's always off panel, and it's always
Yeah,
when no one is looking, and then they
right.
turn around again and he's just in his underwear.
Yeah.
Which is like,
So
I have to say, I liked that joke. I thought that
yeah.
was a good joke, because
Hmm.
in comparison to the like pervertedness of the stuff that they do with Lucy, this
Mm.
is, it's more of a running gag than it is like,
Yeah.
look at this awkward position he's in to
Mm.
like show off his
Right.
butt, or something.
Yeah,
It's
and the
not
guy I
that.
will say the guys in this comic also very cut, often shirtless, or their shirt is open, or they're doing an Aladdin style where they're just wearing a vest and no
Yeah.
shirts.
What Here's what I want to know. What year do we have to like fast forward to when that is just like regular fashion?
The
Like,
vest and no shirt?
yeah, like why aren't people walking around like Final Fantasy characters and stuff like that? Like, why not?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind just the Aladdin look being popular for men worldwide.
No. Yeah, I like that joke, but he's the one I feel like
Mm.
had the most interesting backstory in these
Yeah.
first 4 volumes,
Mm.
which we don't get until volume 3, in which they take a job that they're not supposed to take because it's an S-class job, meaning it is
Mm.
very, very difficult. And they get to this island that is being cursed, and they don't know why, and so they're exploring, and they find this cave, and inside this cave, there's this giant demon encased in ice, and Gray recognizes it, and that's the kind of brooding that we start to get of just like, oh
Yeah.
man, this is not good. Like, I know what's going on here. Like, yeah, no, and yeah, like we start to see a little bit more of that. Like, he was training underneath someone. It was him and someone else, and they had a falling out, and it maybe seems like he killed his master, but we don't know if that was on purpose or on accident or what exactly the circumstances are. That, like, that stuff, I was like, huh, I really want to know that story.
Yeah, that's a decent plot hook. The way, Natsu's kind of got it in that he wants to find this dragon who trained him to be like a fire breather. That's his power.
Yeah.
Urza seems like she's got this mysterious past. And Lucy, even though you do like her, she's charming. She has no hook to her. And maybe this is because
You have some
she
curves to her, though, the creator might say. You know what I mean?
right. She does not have narrative curves. Like, there's something where she's writing a letter to her mom about all these adventures, but she says something like, but don't tell dad. So it seems like she has a little bit of family drama, but it's so conventional teen stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't really stand out at all.
Yeah. Um, did you have a favorite character or someone that you were like, I actually really like this guy and I want to know more about them?
I don't know. I did like Happy. Silly
Shout
as
out to
that
Happy.
is. Solid. Always excited to be there.
Yeah.
Good friend to all.
Yeah. And just trying his best. Be like, I can fly, but I can only carry one of you.
Yeah, or like I can fly, but I can't go very far until my wings disappear.
Yeah. Yeah, so the cat can do magic too. That's an interesting thing. I wonder if other animals can do magic.
And it seems like the magic isn't necessarily inherent to whatever kind of cat Happy is.
Yeah.
It's like a cat that then also learned a magic power.
Yeah.
It's like in Pokemon where you find out that Meowth taught himself to speak human speech.
He's the only one.
Right, because he's the only one who, like, put his head down to it and made himself learn that. Anybody else could if they wanted to.
His first whole sentence was, love me, I'm lonely.
Right. Nobody's the diligence that Meowth has had. Yeah. That's why he's the only one who talks.
Yeah. Yeah, like I kind of like the group that ends up forming of Lucy, Gray, Natsu, and
Urza?
What's her name? Urza? Yeah. Scarlet? Ezra.
Urza Scarlet. Yeah, that is her full name.
You are right. Urza, not Ezra. Urza.
Yeah.
Urza Scarlet. Yeah, like so in the Guild of Fairy Tale, it's basically just like a union. This whole thing of like, what if wizards unionized?
Or if they had like they compare it to, I think, like tradespeople and merchants, like the traditional sense of what a guild was. Yeah.
And so within their guild, they kind of form smaller groups of like, hey, if like us 3 or 4 of us kind of team up consistently, we can then take on stronger jobs and stuff like that and get more money and get more reputation for us and for the guild and like that. And eventually we'll have more power, stuff like that. And I like that, and I especially like the small group that they kind of formed and fit into. What did you think of Fairy Tail just kind of as a whole? Or just this idea that there are these guild-like things.
I liked that, and I like that it wasn't strictly like a professional organization. It's a giant clubhouse. Like, people have apartments there. There's a bar there. That's where everybody hangs out.
Right?
Yeah, I liked that part of it, that it's so social, as well as being this professional sharing of resources and teamwork and all of that. And it's mostly just people drunkenly hanging around.
Yeah, right. Which is fun. And again, goes back to that thing of like he was inspired by his friends just hanging out at the bar and partying. And yeah, I think they nailed that feeling of just like she walks in and it's chaos. It's a bar fight and they're all like, no, I'm stronger than you. That's not what happened last time, blah, blah, And it's like she walks in and she has no idea what's happening or who these people are. She recognizes some of them, like, oh my god, that's Mira Jane. But she has no idea what's happening, and she's just like, I like it here. This is good. Yeah. This is good. I'm having fun.
I did appreciate that about Lucy, that she thrives off the chaotic energy.
Yeah, she feels like she can find a place to belong within these like knuckleheads of characters.
Yeah, as we've said, she's inexperienced. She doesn't have the battle skills or know-how that anybody else has. She's kind of sidelined, but it doesn't seem to.
Summer, battle-hardened Lucy, now with more action.
It doesn't seem to wear on her. That doesn't weigh on her mind. She doesn't feel like she's less of a part of the team because she isn't as actively fighting. I think because the people she's with love the fighting so much, she doesn't feel like it's a burden on them. Yeah. If she's chilling out on the side with Happy, things are okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she just likes being there where the action is. She's more of a support class of just like, hey, I'm learning to fight. I want to learn to fight and be a contributing member, but if my role needs to be to hang back and aid you somehow, then yeah, great. That's exactly what I want to do because I just want to be here. So. Yeah,
there is one standout, like really practical, helpful thing she does, and I think their first mission. Or like their first mission after they've decided, yes, we are all a team now. They have to go destroy that book. And she's the only person who gets the book and then says, I want to know what's in this thing. And then she has this magic item, which was pretty nifty, where it's like a pair of glasses.
Think first, not punch first, than everyone else.
Yeah. She's got this magic item that's this pair of glasses where you put them on and then you can speed read.
Oh, I would love me a pair of those. That would be amazing.
So she takes these out of her bag. She like hunkers down in a corner while everyone else is fighting. And like half an hour later, she's like, okay, I read the entire book. And this is what I found out about it. It's not what you think it is at all. It's actually this, and she's able to see that it is a magical item. It's not the world's worst novel at all. It's this beautiful novel that just has the world's worst novel spell on it. It's enchanted
it's meant to
be
look
terrible.
Like the world's worst novel and enchanted to be so, but actually, it's the world's best novel, and you just don't know it.
Yeah, because the author was forced to do it, basically kidnapped, and this guy was like, I'm going to murder your family unless you write a novel where I'm the hero. So this author...
It's an interesting story. I like that one.
All of these missions they go on, I don't know if I'm wild about the execution of all of them, which is a personal thing, just because it gets into so much punching and fire and breaking walls and stuff like that I'm not as into.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of glaze over for the action scenes, but the initial concept of these missions I like. This one is a man pays them to uh, get into this other man's house, and he says he owns this incredibly rare book. There's only one copy of it anywhere. I want you to get that book and destroy it. They're like, oh, you don't want us to like steal it and bring it back to you? He's like, no, burn it. Burn the book. I'm going to give you so much money to burn the book. And then you find out he's the son of the guy who wrote that book. And he's like, my father was forced to write this terrible thing. It's a stain
Ruined
on
him,
his
and it
legacy.
ruined his career. And
Right.
Yeah.
And then you find out, no, there's a spell on the book. The book is really a beautiful story to you, his son. But because he was forced to do it, he put this enchantment over it so the guy who made him write this book about him saw only, this is the hero you made me out to be. Well, I'm going to keep this thing anyway because I made you do it because I kidnapped you.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. I know we can't critique something that we didn't get. However, I think I would have liked this more if it focused on Lucy trying to get into Fairy Tale, and like that was the whole story, right? Like there is no entrance exam, there is no test. There is no like SATs that she has to take to get in, right? She's not like the Elric brothers that has to demonstrate their understanding of alchemy to become a state alchemist or stuff like that. She's just like, I want to join, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, what do you do? Oh, that? Yeah, we don't have that. You're on board.
Yeah, and like it's just so uneventful and just like, that was it, really? But like I think this would have been equally emotionally affecting or just interesting if they focused on, okay, what do I need to do to get into Fairy Tale? What kind of magic do I need to learn? How much do I need to sharpen my skills? How much do I need to kind of build these relationships and pull certain strings and be like, hey, I'll do you this favor if you do me a favor, and X, Y, and Z here. Like I think that would have been fascinating. And then her finally making it into Fairy Tale and then ending with her, just like, okay, I'm picking out my first job. Boom. Done. Like that would have been sweet. But like, she made it. She can now write home and be like, dear mom, I made it. Don't tell dad because I hate him and he's a jerk. But I think that would have been fun, or to just skip it. Like, skip that whole first volume and be like, hey, I just made it in. And like have some goal. Like, what is the goal of Fairy Tale? Is Fairy Tale working to better the state in some way? Like, what is their purpose? Like, they don't seem to really have a purpose besides camaraderie, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's like I felt like they needed to be working towards something, and we don't necessarily have that.
We know how Fairy Tale is different from other guilds in the public's perception, which is that the Fairy Tale wizards have a reputation for being really careless and destructive whenever they go on any mission. Like, they
really
get the job
good,
done.
Yeah, they're really good and they're real strong, but the property damage tends to be real high.
So that's the reputation they're dealing with. But you're right, there isn't anything within Fairy Tale that in their own minds, their mission is not different than seemingly the mission of any other guild around them.
Yeah. I did also like that the guilds were not just like a self-made, like, I'm a guild now. But like, there is some kind of structure and bureaucracy as to like what makes a guild and stuff like that, which is kind of one of the things that we get sprinkles of here and there. Like, there is a higher council of wizards, and they get to kind of define what it means to be a guild, and they get to punish people if they break the rules and stuff like that. We run into that because Urza gets arrested in by the end of Volume 3, and she's about to go face trial and stuff like that. But yeah, like I like that stuff, and then because of that, we also get to see the wizarding world outside of it, right? Like we know that Lucy has magical powers and can just go into a shop and buy more of those keys that she has, or find them, right? But we see that aspect where it's like everyday people can use magic if they want to, but we also get the like dark guilds, the ones that are like, we're still a guild, but we're not following your rules because they're stupid.
Yeah.
I liked that. Like I mean, they do it in a maybe not so interesting way, but it's still just like, I like that there are organizations out there that will still take on jobs and are still there for the camaraderie and the benefits of power in numbers, but maybe they have a more sinister take on magic or a more sinister purpose. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. I like that. I want to know more about those.
They'd be like necromancers or something. They're dabbling in the dark arts, but it's because they think the dark arts have something
out of those necks. Look, whenever anyone says that word, it's the only thing I can think about. I'm sorry.
Just a makeout guild.
Yeah. a guild dedicated entirely to neck kissing. Which, hey, is not a bad idea, but
yeah, it would be neat to see how different people think about the magic that they do. And it seems like every time somebody shows up with a magic power, everybody else buys it, like, or that they believe it or they're seemingly already familiar with it. Like, none of the powers seem surprising to anybody else. Like, somebody can do that? It seems like anybody can do anything and everyone is aware of this possibility.
It's been happening for a while. Like, magic is not a new thing. It's not a secret thing. It is ingrained in their culture. Yeah, and so I like that. But I think that's also a perspective that we don't get in the book that I think is severely lacking. Like, I would have liked to see more of the everyday person, like just a normal person who is not in the guild, who maybe has to post a job. Like, what is that? What is life like for them? I mean, maybe they know some small like household cleaning magic or something like that, but that's it, right? Like, what's life like for them?
Yeah, or like, how can you use your magic for non-battle abilities? Like, Lucy has one of these spirit she summons basically acts like a pet. It has no battle capabilities. It's just there to, cuddle and have fun with. But I would have liked to see somebody else's power used like that. Like, if Natsu's like, I've been hired to just run a barbecue today with my fire powers. Right? I'm not fighting anybody.
I'd be okay with that. Or he's like a barista for a weekend, right? And he has to learn to make these drinks and stuff like that. I think that'd be really
flaming cocktails.
Yeah. That'd be. Oh my god! What if they got hired at a club where all of the like bartenders and guys and stuff like that are in no shirts, except for like a bow tie and like some like real short shorts and stuff, and he's sitting there like making the cocktails and stuff like that, and being like a flaming dragon cocktail, ha!
I wouldn't say no to that. That's something really else funny. I wanted out of this book was for there to be more non-battle missions they had to go on, or like for these missions to involve more actions beyond that. Like, for instance, when they need to go get the book out of this guy's mansion, their way in is, oh, he's looking for a new maid. Lucy, you'll dress up like a maid and he'll hire you. And that's how we'll get in and we'll get the book. And then you get her in a sexy maid costume. And I wanted more actual plot reasons for sexy costumes to be happening. I didn't want them to just be like, oh, she's just in a mini skirt and a bikini top for
because they
some
wanted her in a
reason
sexy maid
on her
costume for
day off.
2 pages. That's it.
I wanted more like, oh, I have to be a maid to like get into this mansion, or
Yeah.
oh, the top prize in this uh talent show is this magical key that will get me a really powerful spell. I'm going to be a pop star. Now I'm wearing a sexy pop star outfit.
Yeah.
Or I have to,
Natsu,
you know,
learn
it's
this
a
dance with me.
yeah, I wanted there to be more other activities like disguises and like sneaking around,
Yeah.
or oh, we have to learn how to behave at a nobleman's ball is part of this mission. I wanted that. And like
Fun.
when Lucy dresses up as the maid, the guy comes out and looks at her and he's like, "You're not my type." And then it's done. I'm like, I wanted Lucy to like be a maid, like figure out how to do that. Instead, they're like they have to find some other way into the well, the way they find into that mansion is cool, where Natsu can use his fire abilities to like melt a hole in a glass window and they
Yeah.
sneak in that way. Like that's neat. But that's 2 panels. I want like these other little plot threads and these steps and these tasks to things.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be nice. Indeed. We kind of got a little bit of that, but it's in the like happy missions that come at the end of the volumes. We get like an extra like a epilogue type of thing. That they are out on some kind of mission. It seems like, but it seems like it's more focused for the guild, like they're collecting food for the guild or something like that to just help run the operational stuff, right? Yeah, and like I want more of that, like more slow things of like them going out into the forest to hunt for these special mushrooms, but that's where we get the character moments. That's where we get Lucy like actually opening up to Happy and being like, so you read my journal, huh? What did you see? And they like start to explain of the like the relationship with her father and why she's not on good terms with him and stuff like that. Or like why do you stick with Natsu? He's a little reckless, right? Like, couldn't you go find someone else who's nicer? Which I actually I think that one of them collecting mushrooms, I would have to go back and look. I think it ended up being a dick joke. Like the whole thing was just a dick joke. They were mushroom heads, is what the thing was. And so I was like, I think this is like a thinly veiled dick joke here. But I wasn't paying too close attention. So they're sitting there like, why is yours bigger than mine? But yeah, like I want more of those moments. It is nonstop, and I want a second to breathe and just like, slow down a bit. Who are these characters?
There
you go. Let's talk a little bit about Urza. We haven't really talked about her much yet. What did you think of her as a character?
I liked that she was this mysterious figure who's like this incredibly strong warrior, is often out on these long, complicated, dangerous missions. Like it's kind of unusual for Urza to come back to the Fairy Tale Guild. She's cool, but she's not as aloof or cold or aggressive as you think that character might be. Like she and Lucy take to each other fairly quickly. She's like, no, you don't have to call me Urza-san, just Urza is fine.
I liked her character. I really liked her powers. I thought that was neat that she has like multiple different weapons and multiple different sets of armor, and her magic is similar to Lucy's, in which she kind of has this access to kind of this alternate dimension where she can store that stuff and then just switch out her armor set and weapon set as she needs, right?
It's reminded me of the classic anime gag where somebody just has a mallet out of nowhere, or somebody smacks somebody on the head with a paper fan out of nowhere. It's like that literally. This isn't a metaphor, this isn't a gag. That's what she does. She can reach into a portal and pull out a mallet or a sword or an axe if she needs to. And if she really needs to power up, then she puts on a special outfit to go with the sword.
Yeah, I liked her character, and she is also one of the, like, she's kind of one of the in characters to learning more about the council, because she does get arrested at the end of volume 3, and we start to get a little bit more of the politics. It looks like she has some history with one of the people on the council, maybe in a romantic sense. It seemed like it maybe was not a great relationship, but there might be something there. But she also understands how the politics of all of that work. And like the one thing that I thought was really interesting is that our first kind of encounter with that is this kind of hollow trial. Like, they need to reprimand someone for all the property damage that they've been accruing, right? But they got the job done, and they saved the lives of the council members, so really they're not going to punish them. But Natsu didn't really realize that, since he's just a younger kid, right? And he like, she was like, look, I was there to just like say I'm sorry, and that's it. Like, be free and be on my way. They weren't gonna put me in jail. They weren't gonna put me in timeout or what have you, right? It was just be a slap on the wrist. And I like that she knows that, and she's aware of that, and she's like, I know how this whole thing works. Like, it's I'll be fine. Don't worry about me, right? But yeah, she was good. But then she partakes in the like shenanigans and the bar fights when she wants to. To just be like, I'm still stronger than you, and they're like, I don't believe it, I'll fight you again. I'm like, all right, but I warned you. So yeah, it's good. I liked that they had that fight, and that was a big deal of just like, oh my god, Natsu's about to fight Urza. Let's take bets. That was good. It's fun.
Yeah.
I liked her.
I like this cast that they're slowly building. There's characters that they introduce that we haven't circled back around to yet. Like, I think his name is Loke. It's like the guy with the sunglasses who's like the ladies' man.
I think it is actually pronounced Loki, but it's just spelled different. Because I think they had something in kind of the extra information that they were like, yeah, we got his name based off of Loki of Norse mythology.
Okay.
But I don't know. I could be wrong. It might just be Loke, but Loki works too. Yeah, there was that guy. Then there was the one dude, I don't remember his name, but he had sleep magic.
Yeah.
And he like walked in and everyone would fall asleep. He would take a job and leave, and they'd all wake back up, and no one has seen him except like the higher ranking members.
I liked that.
Yeah, that was cool. That's more the kind of like stealthy power that I would want, of just like, how do I make sure no one knows I'm there? Like, have them all fall asleep.
And there's Mira Jane, who we see frequently, but it's hinted at that she used to be an active practicing wizard, and something happened and she doesn't do magic anymore. She's just like the bartender.
Yeah. They have a fantastic cast of characters. Like, there's no shortage of like, oh, you could be interesting. I want to know more about you. Like, there's tons of them. I think even the like guild later, the old guy who's super short,
Yeah.
like he was cool. I liked him. I would want to know more about him, but
Mm-hmm.
we don't get to know much more about him. So
Oh, we're like 4 volumes in.
yeah. Oh, there you go. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about with this?
Ah, I will say briefly that as unnecessary as a lot of the sexy outfits were, some of them were pretty good for sexy outfits.
Yeah,
I like
sure.
the I like the costumes in the series. I think that was one of its strongest points.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody always looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm not necessarily a fan of the art style or like the
I
character
don't think I
design,
am either. Yeah.
but yeah, the like fashion on them
Yes.
is all usually really good, or just different enough where it's just like, oh, okay, this is not your standard like character design, So
Mm.
maybe something good to look at.
Yeah.
Um, trying to think if I have anything else that I wanted to say about this book. Doom doom. No, I guess that's about it. It's nonstop fun is the
Mm.
thing, but it's also at least 4 volumes in. There's not much depth to it. There's
Yeah.
a couple tidbits where it's like, okay, this is starting to get interesting. I liked it more and more as the book went on. The book also kind of stopped doing as much of the fan servicey
Hmm.
TNA stuff. As the book went on, it was still there, but it was still just like,
Yeah.
okay, what if we turn the dial back from 11 to like 9? Um, but yeah, like it's one of those things. It could get more interesting as it continues. I just don't. It's 63 volumes. I don't know if
Oh.
that's something you really want to invest in or not.
Yeah.
Because I like you've heard me mention initial D. I've
Many times.
pitched it multiple times here on the show. I love that anime, and so
Mm.
I guess like a year or two ago, it all came out on Comixology Unlimited, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna read this, expecting it to be like 10 volumes. Nope, it's like 40 something. And I as much as I love that book, I'm just
Uh-huh.
like, oh, this is exhausting. Like,
Mm.
I don't know if I'm ever gonna make it through all of that. It's like maybe one day, but ugh,
Yeah.
yeah. If that's my reaction on something that I really love, and with this, it's just like, yeah, 63 volumes, no thanks.
Hmm.
There you go. Melissa,
Hmm.
do you have recommendations? If they liked this, what else might other people like?
This is very different, but the magic system works similarly. There is a series of young adult fantasy novels called Bartimaeus. The author's name
Bartimaeus
is
Fowl.
Jonathan. Nope, it's called Bartimaeus. The first novel is called The Amulet of Samarkand. I got him on my
Got it
shelf
on your
back there. The
bookshelf, yeah.
author's name is Jonathan Stroud, and it's kind of in the vein of like a Harry Potter or something, where it's set in an alternate London, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a society where kids are born, I forget if they're born with magic talent and it's recognized early, or if you have a kid, if they are trained from birth, they can become an amazing wizard. I don't know. But in this society, it's common for parents to send their babies away, or in some cases, sell their babies off to become the
Mm.
proteges of these wizards. And so the kids grow up having like no
Firstborn
family
must go to the clergy.
yeah. The kids grow up having like no family connections. They're just schooled entirely in wizardly ways. And when they come of age, they pick a new name for themselves.
Yeah.
And the reason why they do this is that all of magic in this world is based on summoning a demon and making a contract with the demon for them to carry out a task for you or like follow alongside you and be your familiar. And so
Okay.
if the demon learns your true name, that gives them power over you. This is why you
Yeah.
must always hide away your true name and like shed your past and become this completely different person, even if you are only like 15. You have
Yeah.
to be like hardened and cold because you have to be the masters of these demons and get them to listen to you. And this is a series about one boy whose demon does accidentally learn his name. And the
Wah,
demon
wah,
has
wah. Daryl? That's your name? Daryl? Who names their kid
the
Daryl?
demon has
Just kidding.
baggage because he had become really closely bonded with a previous master centuries ago,
Mhm.
and he was sworn to, it was his mission to protect this boy, and that boy died, and this demon has never gotten over it centuries
Mm.
later. And now here's this new boy who's summoned him, and he can see how fragile and how terrified this boy is, and how this boy is really trying to be a good person but is like forced by circumstances to be so cold and calculating. And it goes between their two perspectives, this boy like struggling to become like the number one new wizard, and this demon just being like, oh no, oh, you're gonna go down in flames, aren't you?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's a good recommendation. Recommendation number one for me is actually something that I personally know nothing about because I have not seen a single episode. But
Uh-huh.
I think if you're reading this and you haven't checked out One
Yeah.
Piece, I think One Piece would be a good
Yeah.
one to check out.
I've
Um,
also not seen any One Piece, but the
it's
visual style of this
yeah, very similar art
and
style.
that kind of you describe this as swashbuckling, and I think that's apt. And if anything is swashbuckling, it's definitely One Piece.
Indeed. Um, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that style, and I just haven't checked it out. Um, but yeah, I think that's one to recommend. For stuff I have read though, first thing I want to recommend is The Runaways from Marvel
Mhm.
Comics. Um, this was created by Brian K. Vaughan and Adrian Alfana, if I'm not mistaken. And it is about a group of young kids uh, who whose parents are all super villains, but they don't know that.
Mhm.
And once a year, they have this like business gathering where all their parents get together to discuss business stuff. And the kids are just like, well, we'll get pizza and we'll play video games and stuff.
Yeah.
But then one year, they're kind of old enough to be like, what do you guys think our parents are actually talking about there? And they're like, I don't know, let's go spy on them. And so, yeah, they go to spy on their parents, and they see their parents carrying out this like weird occult ritual,
Ugh.
sacrificing some girl. And yeah, they learn that their parents are all members of this evil organization called the Pride, and they are villains and stuff like that. And it's based around the concept of like, as a young kid or a young teen, at one point you've probably felt like your parents were the bad guys. Well, what if they were?
Mhm.
And so the kids decide to run away and fight back. And it's set in the Marvel universe, but it's set on the West Coast where
Oh.
not many like Marvel superheroes are, so it's kind of doing its own thing, and it's a good introduction into the Marvel universe. You do
Hmm.
end up like meeting Spider-Man, you see Captain America, you see Cloak and Dagger, but it's mainly doing its own thing. And yeah, it's just this group of kids kind of learning how to survive and make it on their own and fight back and how to become super heroes and stuff like that. It's really good. It's one of my favorites of all time. And there is a live action Hulu original series based off of the comics, and that was also very good too. So
Hmm.
that would be my first recommendation of that stuff. I guess my second one, but my third recommendation
Mm.
is Gotham Academy.
Ah.
This is a comic book that takes place in Gotham in the DC Comics universe, and it's kind of like what if Harry Potter, but in Gotham. And yeah, so it's a school, a bunch of young kids, all of that stuff, and they just get up to all kinds of mischief and shenanigans, and they run into Killer Croc, and there's some kind of mystery about the main character and what happened to her mom, and why does one of them kind of have powers and stuff like that. So it's good. It's a lot of fun, and I liked that one too. There's a great character in there. Her name is Maps Mizuguchi, and she is great. She is one of my favorites. Yeah, I highly recommend that one as well if you liked that like sense of magic and adventure.
Nice.
So there you go. Melissa,
Yeah.
next week we're kind of throwing a bit of a curveball. It's not gonna really be a curveball for anyone out there listening.
No.
Uh, but what are we doing this next week?
I'm skipping pitches because our friend and Patreon supporter Sam. I mean, she was our friend before she was our Patreon supporter.
Which
So
is
like
true.
yes.
She was
It's not like
your friend there.
yeah. So like she bought her way on here. She said, "Hey, can I come on and talk about the anime movie Pro Mare?" Like,
Yes.
yeah, okay. I'll give up my pitches next week so we can do this together. So yeah, this is a movie by Studio Trigger, I think. I saw most
Okay.
of this once. I joined a stream of it like 10 or 15 minutes in, so I missed the very beginning. But basically, it's set in this world where there are people with fire powers. It's like there's been a rise of X-Men, but the only type of X-Men there is pyro.
So think
Like
Natsu,
everybody just
but there's a million of them.
right, yes, so many. And they're kind of uh, they're persecuted. People don't know what to think about them. Like there'll be somebody with a firepower who works the brick oven pizza restaurant, and then people will be like, "Wow, your power really helps us be an amazing pizza. Thank you for sharing this with us." And there's other people that will be like, "Oh, you're using a firepower to make this pizza? I don't want it." And there's a
How dare
greater
you? I am Pizza Lord.
yeah, there's a greater conspiracy behind everything, and one of the main characters is a firefighter, basically an overblown overexcited shonen firefighter hero, and it's him and
Okay.
this guy with fire powers and their relationship. It's beautiful. It's a really cool looking
Interesting.
movie, and it's one Sam's real fond of.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all get to talk about it together next week.
Studio Trigger, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they worked on Kill la Kill.
Mhm.
And I know they are working on the new Cyberpunk anime that is coming out based on the new video game that is going to be
Oh,
coming out, which is also based off of the pen and paper
huh.
game.
Those many layers deep.
So yeah, yeah, I know them from that stuff. I know people really like them a lot. I've heard the name Promare, but yeah, I've not looked into this at all. I'm excited to check it out. However, I do want to add that if you are not our friend yet and you want to buy your way on to the show, you absolutely can. I rarely talk about it. We won't necessarily have you on the show, but I think we have a Patreon tier. I think it's like $40. I want to say it's a steep one. It's a steep
That's
one,
high
but
up there.
for $40 you can pick what we cover on the show, and as we'll work with you to make sure it is something that we can get, but that $40 goes to covering expensive of like, do we need to buy this, do we need to do something like that, but yeah, if you want to hear us talk about a specific movie or show or anime or manga or something like that, patreon.com/the Whatnauts, you can give us your life savings. Yeah. Promare is what we will be doing next week. Keep in mind the week after that, I think, is our final thing for Mr. Robot. Melissa, it looks like you already started watching it, just based off your reaction.
Have you not started season 4 yet?
I have not started yet.
I'm 3 episodes away from finishing it. I've just been devouring the thing. You are in for an intense time.
Yes. Okay. Good. I'm so excited. Good stuff. But yeah, next week, Promare. Yeah, I'm excited about that one. Sam has joined us on the Captain's Log once before, so this will be her first time on the review show. So good stuff. Good stuff. Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
I am on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
You can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. I really gotta stop plugging my Instagram because I don't update it, and I deleted the app off of my phone. Just to the point, I was like, I don't use this. So you can find me on Twitter at Yo Kyle Springer. If you guys want to stay up to date with our podcasts, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. Go like, share, subscribe. We're still at 79 subscribers on YouTube. So if you guys are listening to this or watching this, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us spread the word about that. We are hoping to reach 100 subscribers and beyond of that stuff, so we can get our short URL and it's not some like super long mega thing. But yeah, if you could help us out with that, that would be great. That wraps us up for this week. This has been episode 114 of the Whatnauts Review Show. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed that one. Fairy Tail is a pretty popular manga. So if you guys had an idea of what kind of magic you would want to do, let us know in the comments down below. That would help us out a ton. Yeah, in the meantime, go subscribe to our channel right up here. We are hoping for more subscribers, so go hit that button. And then also go watch one of our other videos right down here, because that would help us out. We got plenty of podcasts for you to check out. All sorts of stuff. Might not even be the review show. Might be something else. So go check it out. Thank you. That would help us out. Until next time, goodbye.